Before the Industrial Revolution, work was often dictated by the sun. Farmers and artisans rose with the light and ended their days as darkness fell. Work was intertwined with life, its rhythms dictated by nature's cues. The Industrial Revolution brought a dramatic shift. Factories powered by steam and later electricity operated around the clock. This new era demanded a standardized system for managing labor. The concept of a structured workday emerged alongside factory production. Workers were needed on set schedules to operate machinery and maintain output. Initially, these hours were long and grueling, often stretching to 12 or even 16 hours per day. This period saw the rise of factory towns, where life revolved entirely around the relentless pace of industrial production. Workers faced harsh conditions, low wages, and limited control over their time. The shift from agrarian life to factory work was abrupt and often brutal. It uprooted communities and redefined the relationship between individuals and their labor. The 9-to-5 workday, as we know it, was still a distant dream. It would take decades of struggle, advocacy, and social change to bring about a more humane and equitable structure for the working class. The seeds of change were sown in the heart of the Industrial Revolution, as workers began to organize and demand better conditions. The late 19th and early 20th centuries witnessed the rise of labor unions. Workers, exhausted by long hours and unsafe conditions, banded together to demand change. Unions fought for shorter workdays, better pay, and improved safety measures. Their efforts were met with resistance from factory owners seeking to maximize production and profits. One of the most pivotal figures in the standardization of the workday was Henry Ford. In 1914, Ford introduced the $5 workday at his automobile factories, doubling the prevailing wage. This move was not solely motivated by altruism. Ford recognized that a better-paid workforce would be more productive and less likely to unionize. This innovation sent shockwaves through the industrial world. Ford's decision to implement a shorter workday and higher pay was a watershed moment. It challenged the prevailing notion that longer hours equated to greater output. Moreover, it acknowledged the importance of worker well-being and its impact on productivity. The success of Ford's approach demonstrated that fair treatment of workers could be good for business. While Ford's motives might have been a blend of pragmatism and social responsibility, his actions had a profound impact on the labor movement. They lent credence to the argument that shorter hours and fair wages could benefit both workers and employers. This shift in thinking paved the way for broader acceptance of the 8-hour workday, and the eventual passage of legislation solidifying its place in American society. The Great Depression of the 1930s brought about widespread unemployment and social unrest. In response to these challenges, President Franklin D. Roosevelt championed a series of programs and reforms known as the New Deal. Among these was the Fair Labor Standards Act of 1938. The FLSA established a federal minimum wage, overtime pay, and restrictions on child labor. Crucially, the FLSA included a provision for a maximum 40-hour workweek. Employers were required to pay time and a half for any hours worked beyond this limit. This legislation marked a significant victory for labor unions and advocates for workers' rights. It codified the 8-hour workday and 40-hour workweek as the standard in the United States. The FLSA transformed the landscape of work in America. It provided a legal framework for protecting workers from exploitation and ensuring a basic standard of living. The Act's impact extended beyond its immediate provisions. It fostered a cultural shift towards valuing time away from work and recognizing the importance of work-life balance. The passage of the FLSA did not mark the end of the fight for workers' rights. Debates over minimum wage, overtime exemptions, and workplace safety continue to this day. However, the Act remains a cornerstone of labor law in the United States, a testament to the power of collective action and the enduring importance of a fair day's work for a fair day's pay. The latter half of the 20th century witnessed significant technological advancements and the rise of globalization. These forces began to chip away at the rigidity of the 9-to-5 model. Computers and the internet enabled remote work and flexible schedules. Globalized markets demanded responsiveness beyond traditional work hours. The rise of the knowledge economy and the gig economy further challenged the traditional work structure. Knowledge workers such as software developers and consultants often thrive on flexible schedules and project-based work. The gig economy, characterized by short-term contracts and freelance work, provided both opportunities and challenges for workers seeking autonomy and work-life balance.